One school lecture of the General Occult Class, 24 II 1922, Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. St. Sofia silence. Tonight there will be a Quaker meeting. All will be silent until you receive inspiration. I have gathered you tonight to ask you how to use your free time. Not the time you have committed, but the free time. Free time spoils life. That, the good master cheesemaker, when curdling, must make the cheese with holes, to have empty space in it, and then he is considered a master cheesemaker. He wants you to think a little about the method of work, how one should work. What is the best method of work for the old? Because according to current concepts, people say, the old should rest. That is the greatest evil. They say, he is young, let him play, and who will work? The old should rest, the young should play, and those in middle age, 30 to 33 years old, they will work. So we have 33 years old to work, the young to jump, and the old to rest. Arrange a program for the meetings every Sunday after lunch. You will vote for it in a democratic way. The first thing, among you I notice that there is a great disharmony which stems from your sacred egoism. In my opinion, there are three types of life in the world. I call one materialistic. Such a person likes to have sheep, cattle, cows, chickens, houses, fields, and when everyone sings to him, he says, it is worth living. However, after 20 years having served everyone, he says, these worries are too great, I am tired, I must change my life a little. And he starts selling a little of them, because he wants to live for himself. This is the second phase of sacred egoism. The children, the wife, who do not know the motivating reasons of the father who acts in this way, say, what does our father think he is going to do? After he sells everything, what will become of us? Both in religion and in the spiritual life there is a sacred egoism. There they say, let us concentrate on ourselves. With what we have earned we can live a little, as we understand a life of luxury. The third life, the real life, I call it the divine. It is the abandonment of sacred egoism and a life of the complete, perfect love of God, in which the heart and the human mind can develop completely. And when we meet someone, our interests do not coincide. He thinks one thing, and I think another. According to the first way of life, we think who has what. We distinguish, and in the second case, we distinguish again. But when we come to serve God, there is no distinction there is only one method. Now, according to this law, some say, when the Lord says, well, have you ever noticed that in the morning the mother comes and says to the child, get up, Mum, the sun has risen, and the child answers, just a little longer. And we think that is philosophy. No, this is not philosophy at all. Now the question comes, has the Lord ever said to us, get up? He did. Someone says, when the Spirit comes, can you say that the Spirit has not come before? It has come and gone. It has come and gone many times. Now it may come again, it will knock, it will go again. This question is for the old, not the young. The young have time. In the present era, we resolve the adversities of life, the troubles. We must reconcile all the contradictions. We must finish what we have not finished. There are two opinions on this matter. Animals gather to help each other, and wolves gather in winter, but only on special occasions to attack a herd. The question now is, can we, under whatever conditions, whatever difficulties we find ourselves in, can we overcome them? Can we rise above them? Now, from a purely Christian point of view, they say, it is possible. Not theoretically, how is it possible? But practically, the question is a little different. Here's what led me to this thought. One of our friends, one of the most zealous, had a very high opinion of me, that I could do anything. False beliefs. He suffers from neurasthenia, calls the doctors, and they tell him to lie on his back for 45 days. With such beliefs, nothing is done. It is an illusion. If your faith in God cannot help you, if in the extreme case, even the knowledge you have does not help you, then why should we have it? So a desire must be born in us to work with the laws of living nature, to be in harmony with God. I have no objection if a doctor comes and works in accordance with these laws. Welcome. A vein bursts. The doctor comes. He can sew it up. But you ate a turnip and didn't chew it. The doctor comes and gives you an injection. I ask, does this doctor understand the disease? I say you need a laxative, nothing more. These pieces of turnip must be expelled from the body so that they don't bother you. Many of you have gorged yourself on such unchewed pieces, and this is what they call the new teaching. No, this is not the new teaching, nor is it the divine teaching. If you had the divine teaching, you would have become saints by now. The heart of a young man in love is generous and he is inspired. Both are inspired. How are they different? They understand the same. The current teaching is the teaching of sacred egoism. I want you not to deceive yourself. If you want to have results, you must not be mistaken in your perceptions. You must know where the new teaching begins. There is an expansion in it, a transformation of consciousness. A change occurs, as when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. Your stagnation is not due only to you, there are other reasons. For the entire current world, there are backward souls, millions of backward souls on Earth, who have gone beyond human evolution. They cannot use the forces of nature. They are beggars, but they are very cunning and use all the weaknesses of people. There are all kinds of people among them, and when they come, they seek out some weakness of yours. For example, they see that someone is vain and wants to become a prominent person, the first minister in Bulgaria, and they will begin to suggest to him that he is gifted and that he can become such to order the strictest laws, but by pushing him in this way, he creates thousands of troubles for himself. And then they tell him, "Enough, you are tired already, give way, let others come, you will see the results." But when others come, they start chasing him, catching him, judging him and throwing him in the trash. Why? What did he gain? Nothing. And in a religious sense, we notice the same weaknesses again. They will tell you, in the occult sciences there are such and such powers, whatever you say they will do it, and then you will start to get upset. All this is a fabrication of these spirits, and if you understand better, you will see that it is an illusion, it is not divine. Now I want you to distinguish. I will not speak now as a clairvoyant. When I look at the color of your face, it shows that you are under the influence of these spirits. And sometimes an awakening occurs and you say, "My mind is spinning." But you also say, "Lord, don't you see?" No, you have to see. We are now in an era where we must guard against foreign influences, and all the misunderstandings that exist between us are always due to them. I am not judging anyone. There has not been a single reasonable argument between you, so you should have considered it wisely. You should say, "Go tell your brother that the path he is taking is not good," and you will tell him. But these spirits advise otherwise. They say, "Do you see this one, this hypocrite? If he is a hypocrite, the hypocrisy must have signs, but then there must be a law, there must be facts. Where are his signs? If he is bad, as bad he must have other signs as well." According to this alchemical law, I want you to now begin a sifting, an internal sifting. When astronomers observe the sky, they choose quiet posts. When there is no disturbance in the air, then the observation is best. And when we make certain observations, the weather must be quiet. If these spirits move a lot in our mind, our observations will not be correct. We must calm our mind and, with a quiet mind, connect with the divine consciousness in which we live. Now we do not live in the divine consciousness. A method of work must appear among you. There must be an association of 2, 3, 4 to harmonize and to be able to help each other. What is the use if we walk on one divine path without helping each other? Let some of you be chosen to study the law of toning. We must tonify ourselves. Old people need toning, attunement. You must always tonify yourselves, to tune yourselves, to tune yourselves. I am not saying that you are not toned. I have often heard when I go to some house, the mother says to her child, "Ha, play a red flower." I listen. The red flower plays very well. She comes to another place. "Ha, mother, play a red flower for Mr. Well, enough of saying. The eternal repetition of the same thing is not knowledge. It is a waste of time. We say, "The Lord is good, the Lord is good," but you play the second thing that comes after the red flower. It is, "The wind is blowing, the Balkan is moaning." So the red flower is in relation to the heart, and the wind is blowing in relation to the mind. And now the third song that the children should play, what is it? I make this note to you because I notice that some of you think that this is not the way yet. You do not yet know what spiritual life is, and you have not yet experienced the divine life. The third step that we must take is to enter into the divine life. You will remove the sacred egoism from the outside, and our work will be half done. When you study the gospel, you see that Christ begins with the small rules and comes to perfection, so that you may be perfect, as your Father who is in heaven is perfect. There are preachers, believers, and disciples. The publicans are materialistic people. They believe in a lot of possessions. The religious are people of faith. They believe in sacred egoism, and the disciples are in the divine teaching, where Christ says, "Give away all that you have, leave your father and mother." It is for the disciples. And you will know the law how to give away, and not just like that. Paul says, "And if I give away all my possessions but do not have love, I am nothing." And to give the body to be burned, i.e. you can sacrifice yourself, and that is again sacred egoism. Also, sacred egoism is when we think that we are the center of the universe. Although you do not express it, but it is the thought. We do not express it from the outside, but we hide it within ourselves. And the one who has entered into the divine life, then it sits so high that no one touches it. And a writer says, "He who blasphemes God, the Nat's Nat, who spits on Mont Blanc, what will he leave on it?" When we enter the divine world, and someone tells us something, it is like the spit of a mosquito. You may not even notice whether the mosquito spat or not. In the divine world, spit does not stick. It cannot even fall there because there is constant rain and it is washed away. So we have come to the position, according to occult science, to apply the rules in real life. That application will determine our future life. Now it is determined what the future state will be. What you do now, you will do for yourself, and you must know how to do it. You must live in the divine life. You must understand the distinctive features of the divine life in what they sit. You need this for yourself. In this small society, certain disharmony appears, which can be very easily arranged, but they can only be arranged in a divine way. In religious life, sacred egoism arranges as much as it damages. In material life, 5 gives and 100 takes. In divine life, everything is arranged, and there is nothing greater than for a person to be in agreement with God, to feel Him within himself, to be in agreement with all higher beings. There is nothing greater than that. You meet a person, the divine in him corresponds to the divine in you, and you perceive it. There is nothing better than that. Now I want you to do an analysis, to sift your thoughts, and let something essential remain. Let one thought remain, but know that it is divine. One thought that you can rely on. Here it is possible. It is possible for all of you. Everyone can make this attempt. No great philosophy is required for this. Great effort is not required, but science is required to be applied. You must apply the divine rules, as in music and art. Everywhere they are determined, and whoever knows them will always have a result, not a material one. First of all, do not seek to improve your external environment. No, improve the state of your mind. That is the first thing. The second thing is to improve your heart, and then you will be in a position to improve your material life. Now you are doing the opposite, and that is why you have no result. Now some of you are working in this direction, but you are hesitating. That balancings of the mind, that faith that you have, becomes subjective. You must know that you have a positive experience, that what you believe you have verified, and your experience must be alive. There are 2 types of experience. The first is you pluck a flower and lose it, and the other experience is the flower that grows in your garden leaves it alive. That is what the Hindus call a lotus. When I talk about the divine experience, it is the one that always grows in the divine garden. Now, those of you who feel that you have reached a certain height, rise 1 step higher. In the future, I do not want you to be confused, for we will draw near to God, and He will not draw near to us. Draw near, He says, that I may draw near, and you think now that by taking this step, there will be a complete cataclysm. No, this state is one of the most pleasant. You will find yourself like a woman who is in labor, crying, wailing, but when she gives birth, she forgets all her sorrows and pains. There will be weeping, but when you give birth, you will have one of the best states that you have never experienced. This weeping will be extraordinary. Heroism is required here. It is not an easy task, nor is it difficult. Only in this way can we be strong. Where it is said in the scripture, 1 will chase 1,000, and 2 will chase 10,000. Now I am often asked why we work, and there is no result. Because we have remained in sacred selfishness, in sacred egoism. There is a question. What faith are you of? In the divine there is no such question. There they say, brother, sister, nothing more. When he meets you, he says, brother, you are in the divine. If he says, Mr. Most Esteemed, Venerable, I have the honor to meet you, Your Highness, etc., that is the teaching of sacred egoism. In the divine there is only brotherhood, and then you will feel all people close to your heart. In the current state, some people are not pleasant to you and you say, I cannot stand this one. So, now some of you with sacred egoism, are you ready to liquidate with it? If I put you to vote, how many of you are proclaimed? How many believers and how many disciples? How many are ready for the divine life? What do you think? Should this voting be done by hand? It will not be done by hand. You will do it very easily by hand. Once we get to this vote, I will create a big boil for you, the likes of which you have never had before, and if you can get out of this boil, great. In the world you will do it very easily. I will give you an example that I gave to the young. You have a finger, a joint, a back, this and that, and you get nervous, a big boil forms, and then you say, we have overcome it. If only the first pains were gone. You will break through this boil. Now we have reached the state of sacred egoism, and the Lord will create for us a big boil, and this egoism will come out through the boil, and we will enter into this divine consciousness. We will not be nervous. And now I wish that you all have not many diseases, but only one disease. If it is, then so be it. I would like you to divide yourselves now and think about work, about the way of work. Now we think, when the time comes, when the Lord says, there are no conditions yet, we do not have knowledge yet, wait for me to study occultism, etc. You can study occultism, know the Bible by heart, quote all the verses, and still be in sacred egoism. So for now there is a critical spirit among the Brotherhood. You see only the bad sides more than the good, and often some complain to me, "Once we loved each other very much, but now we have cooled off." An old man once said, "What kind of a fool am I?" And in order to jump over one trap, he ran and jumped into the trap. Then he said, "Well, when I was young, I was stronger." But when he came out, he said, "What I was in my youth, I am now." Young and old, it's the same. A person does not change, but only grows. Whatever impulses he had in his youth, they remain. If he was noble, he will remain so. Can a grain of wheat change? We now believe that in his youth a religious person was wheat, and now he has become barley. The Turks say, "And you see, do not believe it." A brother asks, "How does spiritual birth happen?" The boil should make you give birth. I will give you the following example. A maid goes to the garbage, where it smells, and starts digging through it, because her mistress has lost a precious stone. What is she looking for? There is something valuable in the garbage here. We have lost many valuable things. The precious stone is always valuable. He who understands it will find it and purify it, and he who does not understand will not seek it. The new birth is not a principle. It concerns only the external side. The soul only develops what is invested, and nothing new is put into it. And dynamite, in order to produce an explosion, needs a lighter. The spirit has come out of God, and the new is the conditions that enable the development of this spirit. The soul of the child is not separated from the soul of the mother, and the mother can only give materials for its development. We must come into contact with the divine consciousness. There are many methods for this connection in the gospel and in occultism. There are various methods for the awakening of the divine. Now we must all unite. Work for the Lord. Some say, "Let us leave our work and go to work for God." No, let us know that everything in the world is His. Everything we possess is His. We will know the fact that what we have now is divine, and we will begin to use them as the divine law requires. This is the new understanding. Now they say, "Here is my teaching. These thoughts are divine, they were in God, and whoever expressed them," we say, "Here is divine," and we apply it. Whoever expressed them, without distinction. Those who are already ready to come out of their cocoons, to leave their place, others will come after you. They will go in series. If they put us to the test, to explain our teaching, what do you believe in? What is your life? What is your teaching? Briefly and clearly define it. For a next meeting, consider the practical methods by which we can work. Let's say we can have a meeting in which we can forget ourselves and merge with the divine consciousness. Let's all merge. Do you know what harmony will be formed? Now we sit in a meeting. Someone speaks. We look at our watch. When we pray, we open our watch several times and think that this is prayer. No prayer is that. The Quakers have a meeting in complete silence. They are very few, 20,000 people. England owes its greatness to these 20,000 Quakers. We must begin to work. Now the question remains, can we consciously enter into the divine? People who grieve for something grieve for a lost life. Many see that the spiritual life has not given them what they wanted. They are disappointed because their son has not remained what they expected. The divine will dare life, to strive for it. Many have tasted this state less. No one should have the illusion that until you have lived out your life, until you have paid off your karma, until you have fulfilled the law of Moses, you cannot enter the new life. Physical life is a great illusion. We do not settle anything with it. And where we think we are settling something, we do not settle anything. Some will say, "Then let's not work." No, and that is a deception. The essence of life is for people to love each other. You are happy in a society where there are reasonable people. And when we go to heaven, we again seek the reasonable. When we speak of God, we mean the higher, the reasonable. All external needs, aspirations, that is not the meaning. The meaning of life is to love and be loved. That is the meaning, and that is correct and permanent. All other situations are only temporary illusions. This love will pass from one world to the other. You feel a limitation if someone uses you. And the ideal on earth is this, the love that we can have for one another to another selflessly. The physical world without this love loses its meaning, and human love without divine love also loses its meaning. Things become valuable for the sake of the friend who gives them. The ring from your friend is valuable because you love your friend, but the day you hate him, you will hate his ring too. You love someone, and that is why you read his books. What change happens? By the word illusion, I understand. We should not make eating the center of life. That you will eat, but eating is only a condition. Because the time will come when we will eat even without working. No one will work, we will all rest. We say, Without work there cannot be life on earth. Maybe then pleasant work will come. Now physical needs force us to work. As long as people live like this, they live in a false teaching. Working is not necessary. It is an illusion, as the drunkard says, I must drink, and thus the earth is full of nothing but cemeteries and bones. We created this necessity, we broke the law. The Lord said to Adam, Behold, the garden is well ordered, only do not touch that tree. But he ate of it and was driven out. Well, if we return and fulfill God's law, what will happen? We will be in paradise again. The human spirit can return to its original state again. The struggle has begun outside paradise. Let us not worry about many things. If we all accept love and apply it, the world will get better, but not for selfish purposes. You think that things will not get better. We will work, we will not extort. I will come to the field to help you, but you will not pay me. Now, with this system, that is how it is with payment. But we will be born, we will come out of our cocoons. A contradiction can be seen here, you say. Faith, but faith alone is not enough. Faith implies intelligence, and mind is also needed. A smart person will do something. And he who has no faith, has no mind, he will still be pushing the old plough. The new culture requires very smart people. But with these beliefs and understandings that you have now, we cannot apply this law. We hold this method which is natural. There is a connection between all of you. First of all, we must perceive the divine, and when we perceive it, we will be able to do everything. But until we perceive the divine, all questions will remain unsolvable. Those of you who are ready, I will call them in a special way to see how many will answer. Whoever answers, the Lord will answer him. Only in this way will a push be given. You have reached a dead end, and I already notice from your experience that you are always talking to me about the past, not the future. When people talk about their past experience, I consider them old people, and I don't like it at all when they quote, I was more religious once. I say, you are an old man. Know what you were, but what you are now and in the future. Leave the past. Our Lord does not grow old. We do not believe in such things. This Lord speaks now, and in the future he will speak again. And the past is only a memory. Someone comes and says, can something happen from me? If you believe, it can. If you do not believe, it cannot. And then the other delusion, you think you know each other, you do not know each other. To know someone means to love and not so, to be ready if you have to sacrifice everything for him. And now we do not know each other as we should. Life is a constant knowledge. Every day brings new knowledge. Every day, every year will reveal more and more new things. It is the knowledge of God. When I tell you about love, I mean this ascending state. You will not all accept love at once. It is impossible. When we talk about the divine, we do not understand leaving our lives. No, that is a wrong understanding. We will live in the world, we will fulfill the will of God. We will fix this world, not the external one, but we will fix our minds. And when we fix our minds, the world will fix itself. Try to establish order and discipline among yourselves. Since you have no law, live by the law. The people of today have a law, but live without the law. We do not have a law, but we should live by the law. Write down now what is hindering the work. These obstacles should be removed wisely. You will say, we will live by these rules. Consider 2 or 3 people, up to 20 people, how to live by these rules. We have been students for so many years, you say. Have we not learned anything? Not only to leave Egypt, not only to accept the laws of Sinai, but finally to enter the land of Canaan, into the divine, to establish order and to live as the Lord wants. We must give an example. I would like you to give an example too, one from the divine teaching. Everyone can become an example, but only the one who fully desires it. I will give you such an example, on which we will have a ripe fruit and can say, here is one from the divine teaching. Everyone can become an example, only the one who fully desires it. This desire, when you decide to fulfill the divine. Until you decide, everyone is against it, and when you decide you will say, now I tear everything else if you want, come with me, if not, goodbye. And then they will also say, we will come too. But there should be no what hesitation. Decide, and so we will begin not with much, not with the great, but with one small experience, with the smallest in the divine world. You will think, I am giving you this essential thought. Every day ask yourself the question, can I serve the Lord? On Friday we can gather, we can be silent or decide some important issue. An application is needed. The models will come out on the stage. Then you will have 2 meetings. The young will gather before you from 6-8 o'clock, and the old, as you wish, from 8-9:30. Let me determine, the young will gather earlier. The young are those who go to the front to fight, and the old, they will arrange the rear. Because if the rear is not arranged, those who are on the battle line can hardly endure the battle. Sofians must set an example. You will have a method. Now the philosophers, before giving their theories, give arguments against other philosophers. I take this process that is in nature. First I sow the seed and it sprouts, the second year leaves grow, 5 to 6 years pass, it does not bloom but then it blooms, and it is the same with humans. Some of you can now bloom, not artificially, but naturally. If 8 years have already passed, you will bloom. You can bloom because you have the conditions, and if you are just now sprouting, I say, you still have time, 2 to 3 years. One day this flowering will come. Now that our development is not going well, all beings from the astral world are ruining what you have built. Once you are pleasantly disposed, try to keep that disposition, but not 1 to 2 hours pass, and you lose everything you have gained and remain poor again. After a week you fight again, you make an effort again. Then in these talks one of you can write something that he has experienced. Someone should express an experience of their own, prove it, but with arguments, describe their experience. The one who has experienced it knows what the signs are. If they have not lost this state, they will carry it with them. The main thing is to be able to create such an atmosphere, a little more loving. Your love has become a little shallow, so it needs to be gathered and given a slope. In a talk, I will talk to you about the methods of love, what love is, how love can be applied, what results it produces. Because now, as love is described, it is only feelings related to life, a certain pleasant disposition, and when we come to true love, it is something great. If this atmosphere can be created, then I can talk to you about the methods of love. But as you are now in this disharmony, I will never allow myself to talk about it, because it is sacred to me. I can talk about other things, and I will leave it to others to talk about it in the future. When the right atmosphere is formed, you can be given the little methods of divine love. It is like when you tell someone about an experience of yours that you consider sacred and you feel a blasphemy about it, then you will not tell. Christ says, sacred things should not be given. I leave the current love aside. I will speak about love from a completely different point of view, and these things will be only an explanation. And then in this love, we can make an experiment if you want. It is divine consciousness, which produces all these states. We now, with our thoughts, hinder the divine in us. We ourselves destroy, and we must all unlearn to destroy, and we must build. Someone tells you an experience and a desire appears in you, a disposition to say, this is not worth it. Then you harm yourself and you harm him. If you can endure to the end, you will have a torment, but after that a little joy will appear. There must be a purpose. For what? There must be an object. Do you have an object? You can make God an object. If you don't have him as an object, you can't achieve anything. If you have God as an all-encompassing consciousness, you can do anything. If you don't have him, you always lose. They hang you. If you can concentrate your consciousness strongly on God, this rope will break 100 times and they won't hang you. You can so raise the vibrations of your cells that the strongest steel turns to dust. But you have to be a giant. We are waiting for the Lord to say, and it will happen. No, we will say, and it will happen. The Lord says, you also say, and it will happen what you want. But for this to happen, we must know how to ask. When a small child asks with love, his father is moved and gives everything. But when a son commands his father, he does not give him. If we go to God with love, everything can happen. Now both young and old are required to have hearts, to learn what divine love is. And it says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish. And you will say, and I loved God so much that I sacrifice everything to know him. As you translate this verse, then the power will come. It depends on us. God gave a sacrifice. Now if we also accept the sacrifice, we will say this, and I loved God so much that I sacrifice everything to know him. That is the motto on which you can reflect. When I started to speak to you, I caught a cold. I interpreted it myself. I will talk to these people, but they have a runny nose. I know how to treat a runny nose. A person sneezes, so the runny nose comes out through the nose. You have a runny nose, so your mind is runny and you need to treat your mind. All the impurities must come out, so that there is no room for microbes. Now I have a runny nose, and you do not have a runny nose. Then they tell me this, if you do not teach them the true method, you will have a runny nose. I have connected with your vibrations and they are low, and that is why I have a runny nose. In 5 minutes I can remove it by breaking my ties with you. But it is time for us. We can now move on to the eternal, to know God. Some will say, don't we know him? Christ says first if the cup can pass, but towards the end he says, now I know that everything from you has been given to me. But towards the end he says it. When we try things, we will also know this experience. We must recognize that everything is given to us by God. Are you choosing Friday now? Thursday should remain. I want to tell the young not to make the mistakes of the old, to be different from the old, because if they make the same mistakes as the old, they will not be different from them, and they should be special. Since I am still runny, I do not want to decide this issue. In general, there should be less talk. Big shells are rarely thrown. Big things are not easy. In these meetings, there is another issue, to be able to tone yourself, to vibrate. That is the good side. Sometimes the outside world is exhausting and you need a few hours to rest. Accurate prayer.